Good morning, everyone. We officially have a summertime crowd. But look, 2 kids. It's so lovely. I think they're going to have a great time together in church. I hope we all do. So good morning and welcome to those of you who are joining us in person. Welcome to our visitors. I have Reverend Philip Kennedy visiting from the Truro area. We're on a string of visiting colleagues, which makes me happy. Nice to see you, Philip. Philip said it's vacation time, so he can visit his colleagues if he feels like it. Really, he's retired. He's on vacation every week, but it's kind of nice. I also want to say welcome to those who are joining us by Eastlink or on Facebook or by YouTube or what's the other way we do this? Zoom. You'd think I'd have that line memorized absolutely by now. Yeah, Zoom. We never know who's with us because even if you've said something on Facebook and we can identify you, we still don't know who's actually watching us. So I'm gonna issue a little challenge today for those people who find us on Facebook especially. Leave a little comment so we know who you are and so that we don't feel so lonely. I bet that this morning lots of people have elected to stay in bed just because it's gray and rainy and maybe you're still sleeping off last night because it was a big deal. I confess that I did not roll out of bed until 8:30, which is very late for me when I want to be here at 9. It was late. It was such a good evening. So thanks to all of you who supported that wonderful, it felt inaugural in some ways to have a big concert in this space that was so open to the public and was a wonderful evening. Lots of people were very pleased. I don't think anybody was more pleased than himself, Mr. Ben McLean. It was a big deal. He worked hard for this and I think was very pleased with the result. So thanks for being a part of that. You'll hear more about it before the service is over because I struggled about what was I going to do this Sunday for church, and then it came to me about Wednesday morning. What am I struggling for? We're going to do a Lenny Gallant themed service because Lenny Gallant was with us last night, and it feels exactly like what we ought to be doing. So you might hear themes of Lenny Gallant in the prayers and in the opening sentences, and you will be seeing a video, and there will be reference in the sermon as well. I also want to welcome Karen McLean to the piano. So Karen, for many years, accompanied the musicians and the people who like to sing at the Presbyterian Church in Thorburn. And when that stint ended and she found her way to Trinity, she offered to Alex that if he needed to have a Sunday off sometime, she would be okay to fill in because she knows how restricting a church job can be when it comes to weekends. So very grateful to have Karen with us this morning. And look at those two, Marie and Karen, being the choir. Can't put a couple of good women in a different space. There are other choir members here, but nah, they're not going to come up here. But Karen's good to be here, and we're just thrilled. Karen and Marie, thank you. I happened to throw a couple of new pieces of music by way of the choir and the pianist this morning. So if you know them, sing out. Don't leave them stranded. So as we gather this day, thinking about justice and storytelling and tradition and music, we might also remember that we have big stories of our own as settlers on this land, and that our stories are all interwoven with the Mi'kmaq people who welcomed us here. And so in the spirit of respect, reciprocity, and truth, we honor and acknowledge Mi'kmaq people and seek opportunities for reconciliation as we live into our treaties of peace and friendship. Would you join me in the opening sentences? Beloved community, we gather in a time of uncertainty about the world and the church, wanting not to discard our past, but to let it breathe, evolve, and make room for new life. We come with gratitude for the traditions that shaped us, and with courage to explore new ways of being the church. The Spirit has always moved ahead of us, calling, nudging, unsettling, renewing. We open ourselves to the Spirit's imagination and to the future God is already preparing. Let us worship with open hearts, open hands, and open minds, and let us pray together. Expansive God, even though we love knowing what to expect, continue to surprise us with new insights and out-of-the-box thinking, that we may be encouraged to imagine a community where Jesus is recognized in the face of everyone we meet. May we be about building that community through our expanding ideas of faith. Amen. Now I'm going to invite the two little girls, Victoria and Jana, to come and light the candle for me. If everyone was as enthusiastic, I wouldn't argue. Can you feel the presence of God in our midst? God is here. Let's sing. Come touch our hearts. Let's sing. lead us in the reading of Luke 5. And as she finds her way up here, I'm just going to share that this was the reading that we used as our focused scripture at the annual meeting this year in the regional meeting in Wolfville. And we spent a lot of time thinking about this, but this is also what I'm doing today, I think, a new thought for me. So thank you, Jean. Lead us.
Good morning. The reading this morning is from Luke chapter 5, verses 1 to 11. One day, as Jesus was standing by the lake of Gennesaret, the people were crowded around him and listening to the word of God. He saw at the water's edge 2 boats left there by the fishermen who were washing their nets. He got into one of the boats, the one belonging to Simon, and asked him to put out a little from shore. Then he sat down and taught the people from the boat. When he had finished speaking, he said to Simon, "Put out into deep water and let down the nets for a catch." Simon answered, "Master, we've worked hard all night and haven't caught anything. But because you say so, I will let down the nets." When he had done so, they caught such a large number of fish that their nets began to break. So they signaled their partners in another boat to come and help them. They came and they filled both boats so full that they began to sink. When Simon Peter saw this, he fell at Jesus' knees and said, "Go away from me, Lord, I am a sinful man." For he and all his companions were astonished at the catch of fish they had taken, and so were James and John, the sons of Zebedee, Simon's partners. Then Jesus said to Simon, "Don't be afraid. From now on, you will fish for people." So they pulled their boats up on the shore, left everything, and followed him.
So, trying to decide. I think I'm going to invite the girls to come and have a little bit of time with me on the stairs just before we move into the next piece. Oh, Victoria is listening all the time. Jana, you going to come too? All right. Okay. Find a spot together? Awesome. All the way up. Okay, I bet you. How are you today? Are you having a good day so far? Are you having a good day? Are you enjoying saying good morning to all of your friends at Trinity?
I have myself.
You're here by yourself? You're here with your mom.
My mom is here.
Your brother's not here.
Yeah, he didn't wake up.
He's away?
He didn't wake.
He's not awake?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. He's not awake? He sleeps. And do you have a brother too? And he's not here. But I'm really glad that you're here, both of you. So I wonder, do you love to hear stories? Do you love to hear stories? Do your moms tell you stories about when you were little? Really little? Do they tell you stories about when you were real? Does your mom tell you stories about when you were really little?
No.
A baby?
No.
No?
I'm a big girl.
You're a big girl. Do you remember being a baby?
Yeah.
Do you? What was that like?
Asha told me he's a baby.
Who's a baby?
Asha.
Asha. Okay. Do you remember being a baby? Yeah? What was that like, being a baby?
He brought her a baby.
Her brother's the baby?
Yeah, I am a baby. Her brother is a baby. I'm a little.
I could tell you a
By
Yeah, I could tell you a story about when you were. I could tell you a story about when you were little, a baby. You
Little
you didn't say any words, not even one. And now you have so many words. Do you think, would you be interested in hearing a story about, you and I know somebody, my brother,
My brother.
his name is Philip. You know who I mean?
Mom.
Uncle Phil. I could tell you a story about him. Would you like to hear a story? No?
Ow.
You don't want to hear a story? All right, I won't tell you then. So, do you know that people tell stories all the time because they want you to remember parts of your past? And sometimes they tell stories about you, and sometimes they tell stories about other people. I'm feeling very much alone here. Come on back here. Come on back here and sit down with me. You know what? If you're finished up here, then I'm just going to go back and carry on. I'll just go back and, do the sermon. But if you want to have a little time with stories, then we'll tell you. Well, I will take it. Oops. Excuse me. So let's try this again. One quick story about my brother. Do you know that my brother, Phil, Uncle Phil, he was a little boy one time. He was a little boy, and he was not always a good little boy. Sometimes he was a little bit, sometimes he was a little bit bad. And sometimes he got in trouble with Grammy. And you know what? Victoria, focus. Focus with my words. This is a good story I'm going to tell you.
My dress.
I see your dress. It's got a beautiful button on it.
Yeah, I have it that morning.
You put it on this morning?
Yeah.
All right.
I wake up with stars.
Okay. No stories about Uncle Phil. Some other day. We'll see ya. Let me see you run back down there. See you later. Thanks for coming up. Anyway. I'll tell you the story about Uncle Phil, because it's a good one. Day before yesterday, Charlie and I were having a little drive down my memory lane, and we drove through the community that I lived in when I was that age, Maitland. And I must have told the story before because I started to tell it again, and Charlie remembered it. So, good stories are worth telling more than once. I said, there's the little church. There's the little church that has a bell in it that I remember from my childhood, not because I remember it exactly, but I remember hearing about this story about my brother who, at the age of 3, found his way into the church next door and decided he wanted to ring the bell. And it was the middle of the morning on a Tuesday, and the church bell didn't usually ring those times, but Mom said, uh-oh, that's Philip. The church bell's ringing at an inappropriate time, that's Philip. And I was thinking about how different the world is, that a 3-year-old can be missing and you don't even think about it until you hear the church bell ring and you think, that's Philip. But we have that kind of freedom. And there's something really beautiful about those memories and those stories. And what a temptation that would be for a 3-year-old who was curious about everything, to just go in and ring the bell. But the best part of it is, what a story. We can tell every year, or every time we drive by there, and every time we remember about the things that we were about at that age. And sometimes that little girl really wants to listen to stories. Not today. It's okay. We're going to have more stories, but let's start with this story that was shared in song last night, just so that you all have a sense, if you weren't here, about what we witnessed as part of the Lenny Gallant concert. And this story is told about the very reading that we just heard. I have confidence. I'll tell you, I'll just fill some time while it's loading and tell you that the people that were sitting in the very front row over here, Bart and Cindy Brown, are fishers, and they live in Little Harbor. And I said to Bart, they're both very devout Christians, and I said to Bart, I wonder if you've heard this story before. And he said, absolutely. And my boat is actually called The Right Side, because I learned a long time ago that if I was going to have a good catch of fish, I needed to throw the nets over the right side, because that's what Jesus said to do. So I had this beautiful story about fishing, Peter's dream, Lenny Gallant. What do we think? Is it going to come? All right.
I still get up before the day breaks. I still walk down to the shore. I watch the sunrise from the eastern ocean, but I don't sail to meet it anymore. How could they ever let this happen? We saw it coming years ago. The greedy ships kept getting bigger and bigger, and the sonar told them where to go. Last night I dreamed that I was sailing out on the Sea of Galilee. We cast our nets upon the water, and Jesus pulled the man with me. Where am I gonna go now? What about this boat I own? And what about this old piano? What about my father's bones? Last night I dreamed that I was sailing out on the Sea of Galilee. We cast our nets upon the water, and Jesus pulled the man with me. Oh yes he did, you know he did. Someone sang an old sea shanty, and Neely told a mainland joke, and Kelly cursed and swore until his voice gave out, and then he asked me for a smoke, and then he took his father's shotgun, walked through the harbor, through the town. He fired 14 times, woke everybody up, and we all watched that boat go down. Last night I dreamed that I was sailing out on the Sea of Galilee. We cast our nets upon the water, and Jesus pulled the man with me. Come on, let me hear you. Last night I dreamed that I was sailing out on the Sea of Galilee. We cast our nets upon the water, and Jesus pulled the man with me. Come on. Last night I dreamed that I was sailing out on the Sea of Galilee. We cast our nets upon the water, and Jesus pulled them in with me. Yeah, he pulled them in with me. Pulled, you know he pulled them in with me. Pulled, yeah, he pulled them in with me. Pulled, yeah, he pulled them in with me. Still get up before the day breaks, and I still walk down to the shore. I watch the sunrise from the eastern ocean, but I don't sail to meet it anymore.
You need to know I did ask him if he would come and do it this morning. But he's off to Port Hawkesbury. So a concert this afternoon at Grenville Green. Do I not have? No, we got it now. Thank you, Monica. Storytellers are just about as old as time, right? People have been telling stories to each other around circles, to the children in their family, for as long as there have been people. It's how we communicate the things that matter. It's how we share some of our identity with the next generation. It's how we honor special events. It's how history is told and recorded and remembered. It's how we have bits of folklore collected and connected to our own families. It's how we remember things that are unjust. We tell stories about a time when things didn't pan out the way that we had hoped. Lenny Gallant tells stories about all of those things. And last night, we were privileged to hear some of those significant stories. The story that I didn't know last night was a story he told about the Sable Island horses. Those of you who were here, did you already know that story? That the horses from Sable Island were actually captured during the expulsion of the Acadians, and the person who captured them, or the people who captured them, decided they'd take the livestock to Sable Island and come back for them so that they would have the privilege of owning those animals, and then they never came back. And so this group of horses that were descendant from Acadians have been part of the Sable Island herd from all of that time. So that's a story that connects the tradition of the Acadian people, some of their history, with the mystery and wonder that we all hold about those magnificent animals on Sable Island. I loved that story. I loved hearing it, and I loved learning something new that I can think about now in a whole lot of different ways. It's really how the Bible came to be too. People are collecting and connecting their lives and the journeys of their people through story. Maybe stories that mean something significant to them, stories that they can tell around family gatherings, stories that are recorded so that people might find meaning out of them so many years later. 3,000 years of transmitting the things that matter to each of us by story are collected in the book that we call the Bible. They offer answers to the big questions in life, capture meaning and mystery, and preserve the essence of the things that the storyteller really wanted to hold on to and to pass on to the next generation. One day last week, somebody told me that they felt a little bit out of control because the world was changing so quickly, that they had lost control of the things that they took for granted, and how difficult that is. Has anybody felt that way? That things are so different from what they used to be that they hardly know how to do it? So buying tickets for the concert last night was a perfect example of this. You could buy tickets online, you could scan the QR code that takes you to a page where you could buy the tickets, or if you really wanted to, you could come into the office and pay cash and get a physical ticket. Gave the whole gamut of possibilities for how you get tickets. And that was on purpose, because some people are just not comfortable with the many new ways that there are to make exchanges, monetary exchanges. So Lenny tells stories about change that's difficult. That one that we just saw is one of those stories. Story about a collapsing fishery, and a story that kind of places blame on the collapse of the fishery on those who wanted more than was their share and took more than they deserved. A story of fishers who had to live with the results of that and felt powerless and acted out in a way that probably was not very responsible, but felt sort of just for them. And about how the dream is that if you put your faith in the goodness of creation, the dream that Lenny had about casting his nets on the side of the boat and Jesus pulling them in with him, putting faith in something bigger than yourself, and how that might actually be the answer to difficult change. It's every time I hear that song, I hear something different. I'm so intrigued that the injustice issue that was living out in an Acadian community in Prince Edward Island was connected to an injustice issue that was part of those stories coming together in the Bible. It's fascinating to me. In a way, Lenny tells stories of change and protest in a way that we all connect with. It allows us to understand firsthand something about protest. So when people protest, there's always a story connected to that protest. We saw that unfold this past week in Nova Scotia. And the deeper we go into the story, the more we understand what that protest was about. And humanity in a democratic society has that right to peacefully protest. In church, sometimes we protest. Now, when somebody doesn't like what's happening in church, there are a few different ways that they express that displeasure. I have noticed that the most common way that people protest is by not coming back. Have you heard that expression? Protest with their feet? They just decide, that's it. Don't like what that church is doing. They're not going to get my support anymore, and they're gone. What's probably more helpful, though, is to have a conversation about what you don't like about it and to actually try to come to an understanding about where we might change things, how things might be different, how the decisions are made and how necessary that those decisions are. And when you protest with your feet, you don't have that chance. Nothing can change because you don't engage. Last night, I was invited to think about the whole spectrum of protest in a way that I didn't imagine I would be a part of. So, when we tell a story, that evokes an emotion and are able to express that emotion, somehow change is possible in a new way. But I know that most people would be happy if the things that mattered to them never changed. You know, it would be really good if we didn't have to deal with the things that life presents us with all the time that evoke change. If we never had to worry about our relationships growing old, if we never had to worry about our physical needs changing, if we didn't have to worry about our houses being the wrong houses for us at this time, if we didn't have to think about the fact that the Royal Bank closed on Provost Street and now we have to go to Stellarton, all the way to Stellarton, if we want to have an in-person experience with a Royal Banker. We don't like lots of things that happen, but we are always, always, always adapting to change. Always. One of the changes that we're adapting to is the face of the congregation. So you know that there are lots of people. I can't tell you how many people have said to me, well, I remember the days when there were 200 children in Sunday school, and those rooms downstairs were full. And we had a bigger problem, you know, trying to have crowd control than we did trying to wonder if the seats were going to be full. And they say that in a way that they long for, sort of, as if any of us could do anything about that right now. I mean, we are all past childbearing years. Well, not Caroline and not Jana's mom, but everybody else in this sanctuary is pretty much not able to bring more children by the way that we used to bring children to church. Oh yeah, not Ben. He's not past. Okay, Ben, it's all on you. 36 years old, you still have time. You see how even at 36 years old, you can be like the youngest one in the church, and we think, okay, so now there's hope. But we're only fooling ourselves, because those days have changed, and we're in a new place. And so when you're a leader in the church and you're trying to think about what can we do that's going to be faithful and honest and true and still allow us to have some of the things that we're comfortable with, it's quite a trick. It's quite a trick to try to figure that out. And every once in a while, something will happen that gives us an opportunity. On my last visit with David Sobey, who everybody loved to see come to church, because we knew on that Sunday we were going to be okay, right? And there was a sort of a sense, a buzz, oh, there's David Sobey, David Sobey. And we knew that there would be a gift. And it was wonderful. And David was so honest with me. He said, Donna, I can help while I'm here. And I'm going to give you a little bit of money to give you a few years to figure things out. But you're going to have to figure out what you do here without me. I can't always, balance the budget. So, and let me be clear. A lot of faithful people have balanced this budget for a lot of years. It didn't all rest on one family. But his words echo back to me all the time. You have to figure out how this is what's going to change to make the difference. Well, so making more babies is out, and convincing the children that we raised in this church that this is where they want to be, exactly how we were when they were children, is also probably out. For one thing, they don't live here. And for another thing, even where they live, they probably are not doing what we expected. So society has changed, and we are left to figure out what it means for us. So David Sobey's insight was a gift. And then a year later, we got another gift. And it's a gift from a surprising place. And I'm going to invite Debbie Van Vulpen to tell a little bit about that gift. Some of you might have heard something about this already, but Debbie's got the inside scoop. Oh, yeah. Okay. That's all right. You keep it.
Good morning. So just to give you an essence of Barry Woodbury, Barry was a dear friend of mine and my husband's. And my husband first knew him as an avid sailor of a boat, as Barry hired my husband John while he was in high school to work on a teak boat that he was building from scratch. As time went on, they reconnected with windsurfing being the common passion. Many years after that, Barry and my first dog, Pongo, discovered each other, and it was love at first sight for both of them. Barry didn't have his own dog at the time, so he would take our dog whenever we would travel, but we started to notice that he would still come visit us quite often, and we realized it wasn't for us. I said, Barry, do you want to take Pongo for the weekend? And he said, oh, is that okay? So he'd take Pongo for sleepovers. Then when he did get his own dog, then we would take care of his dog for him if he ever went away, which was often. But after a while, he couldn't stand to leave his dog, so he didn't travel anymore. But at one point, Barry asked us to be the executors to his estate on one condition: that if anything should happen to him, we would take care of his dog, Stumpy. And yes, his dog's name was Stumpy. When I questioned him on using an inappropriate physical attribute as a name, he said, I'm an Australian. That's what we do. When Donna asked me to talk a little bit about Barry, she asked me to think of 5 words that would describe Barry. Well, these are the first 5 words that came to mind quickly: solitary, stubborn, eccentric, non-religious, and short. He would have appreciated that, being an Australian, of course. But when Barry passed away very, very unexpectedly at 82 years young, we learned so much about this incredible man. So the more important words, which represent some of Barry's values that Donna was actually looking for, are the following: appreciation. Barry lived his life fully. He appreciated life. He appreciated nature. He appreciated the sea and anything that floated or went down under the sea. And he mostly appreciated animals versus humans. You could really see the softer side of Barry, of how he truly loved when he was with animals. His second value would be knowledge. Barry loved and dedicated his life to learning new things. He was highly educated. He had a master's in engineering, and he was, if I get this right, he was an ionospheric physicist. He worked at the South Pole, and he was so honored and revered for his knowledge and his work that there is a glacier named after him. You should Google it, the Woodbury Glacier. A third value would be passion. Barry would go headfirst into whatever new endeavor or adventure he desired. He built his own boat. He would see something new in a sport and want to learn to do it. At 70, he went to the Dominican Republic. That was the last time we took care of his dog. He wanted to learn to kite sail. And if any of you know anything about kite sailing, it's a little board that's in the water, and you lay in the water holding this kite up in the air, and you get your feet on this little board, and then work the sail to get you airborne. So he was trying to learn that at 70 years old. He didn't quite make it. There's a whole bunch of stories about how he tried to drag him behind his sea-doo one day to see if he could... Anyway, never mind. Another value of Barry's was friendship. If you were a friend to Barry, you would be for life, and he would do whatever you needed if you needed anything. He would expect the same of you as well. Another value of Barry's would be wealth. It is a value. He managed his own portfolio, and he made a fair amount of money for himself, but of course he knew he would not use it all. His desire to make more was going to be for his final legacy. So it might sound funny to concentrate on Barry's fifth value, which was wealth, but I believe it sums up the rest of his values to give you the essence of who Barry Woodbury was. Barry suddenly died at 82, his estate worth well over $1 million. He had no children, he had no wife, he had an ex-wife, and they were still best friends. He had no family to leave his money to. He decided to leave it all to charities. So one day he wanted to make a list of charities and asked me if I have any that were dear to me, as he really only had a few that he felt he wanted to put down. He had the local SPCA, of course, fire department, library, Seeing Eye Dog, and Summer Street Industries. I didn't know how he was attached to that, but he left them quite a legacy as well. He used to take his little Red, his little Miata, and Stumpy over to visit, and he loved watching the workers there, the clients' eyes light up when they saw the dog, and the car as well. I suggested a few. I suggested Ronald McDonald House in Halifax, local food banks, Tierman House. So Barry, who I believe really didn't connect to any religion, asked about my church. This really shocked me, but as he put it, I talked a lot about my involvement with Trinity and what Trinity does for the community and its outreach. I said that yes, that also would be a great one to give to as well. I was astounded. But we agreed in the will, it should be worded that the money be spent on things that could enhance the life of Trinity so that it could continue to do the great work that it does. When the will was read to us, we were astounded and grateful when we discovered that Barry felt moved to leave the largest percentage of his estate to Trinity. To honor Barry's legacy, in my mind, is to demonstrate how Trinity can move forward, not just survive. And like Barry, it can be about money, spending it, using it for things outside the box. So Trinity is using Barry's money by listening to the Discovery team's conclusions for direction. Council is moving Trinity forward by having new passions to try things that seem outside the box to some. It is about taking a leap of faith to see what new seeds can be grown. It is about growth and thinking of becoming up to date, more modern, more relevant, and more inclusive in today's society. We can't just keep doing the same old thing and hope for change or growth. Barry would have been so happy to see us moving in this direction so that my church, your church, the church that he was so generous to donate to, might be able to continue its work and to do even more in the future. Thank you, my friend.
So I just want to share with you the list of things that are happening because of that generosity and the trust that we have been given to use that gift in a responsible way that's going to actually make a difference long term. We could have put all the money into Helping Hands and then not worried about, for a chunk of time, about what we would do for hungry people. But the Helping Hands ministry happens without that money. People are generous towards that. They want to be about that mission. And although sometimes we worry if we can continue, that is happening. There are other things that we do in outreach. We could have given a bigger gift to Safe Harbor. But you know what? Safe Harbor had this goal of $40,000 for their last sponsorship. They set the goal a month ago. It's already been realized. So those things happen because people already deeply care. But in order for us to continue to provide space and welcome and an opportunity for people's lives to be transformed through the gospel, we need to make ways for people to enter this space. And so modernizing, as Debbie said, putting in an accessible lift, making this space more, I don't know, you know how when you live in a house, the flaws kind of don't get seen after a while? Because this is just your place, you're used to it, you understand it. But I want you to really look at the floors when you leave today, because this might be the last time they look like this. In a very few days, well, I think it's a week from now, we'll be continuing with the transformation that happened in the chancel throughout the whole space. And that's one of the places that we're using Barry's money to beautify, make it a more appealing place for weddings and concerts and who knows what else. Several rows of pews are going to be taken out. We're going to put comfortable chairs, not unlike the one that Bob is sitting in, but sort of like that, so that we can reconfigure this space in a more comfortable setting. All of you that are scattered all over the place will want the comfy seats right up here where we can see each other and be together, I'm confident. We're transforming the multi-purpose room to be a conference room with new tables and new chairs, that it can be a revenue stream and more used by the community. We are recipients of the RBC Rick Hansen Barrier Busters grant, and we'll use that money first, but if we need to pick up the tab on that, building an accessible lift so you can come in the office door and come into the sanctuary on your own without somebody having to go and unlock the lift and bring you up here. That will be another way that we will make this space more inclusive. And the plan that's not yet realized, but I feel like I need to tell you about. Some of you already know, but there's enough buzz in the community now that I really feel I need to tell the people in the congregation what's sort of in the works. Now, you need to know this is still early planning days. So it's a bit of a risk putting it out there, but because if it doesn't work, I'll feel like I shouldn't have told you. Then you wouldn't be disappointed. But it's exciting enough to me, and I think that there's a promise within this. So the space where all the children used to be on Sunday mornings is the space right below the back of the sanctuary, the front of the sanctuary, whichever way you look at it. The old ladies' parlor and the rooms adjoining behind the stage. I know, old ladies. They weren't all old. They weren't all old. The place where women used to meet and where Sunday school happened on Sunday mornings is now empty, I would say 100% of the time. And it's space that's worth something, and we pay to heat, and it's ours, so my feeling was, let's try to find somebody who will use it. So we tried to get tenants. Various reasons didn't work. When I was at the regional meeting, I heard this story about hospitality, and I thought, that's exactly it. So we are in the planning stages of making that space downstairs an apartment that will be used for Airbnb, or maybe your children, when they come home to visit and don't come to your house anymore because you've sold it and you moved to the Willow, will want to be in that space. It's a great apartment. It'll be a great apartment. Or maybe we'll have travel nurses there and, I don't know, 3-month rentals, something like that. But it's an income stream that will help pay for some of the things that are so necessary here. Let's hope that works. Now we're nicely over time. I could talk so much more on plans, but I'm going to stop and say thank you for trusting us with this piece of the story that promises to renew and transform. I have a little litany there for us to come together with. When familiar patterns no longer sustain us, may we be renewed with imagination and courage. When we cling too tightly to what once was, let our hands open to what can be. When fear whispers that change is too risky, may we hear a word of trust and possibility. When new voices rise with fresh ideas, let us listen with humility and hope. Spirit of renewal, breathe in us again. Let our church might be alive with justice, joy, and compassion. And let's sing Grateful. God, we're grateful to be together, to dream of courage, to be released from what no longer serves us. We're grateful for wisdom to discern what traditions still bear life. We're grateful for creativity and worship and mission and community, for leaders and dreamers stepping into new roles. We're grateful for the Spirit's guidance as we reshape our identity, and we're grateful for the many ways that people have entrusted us with their resources and their intentions that we might continue to be a community of transformation. May your Spirit live within us in ways that continue to inspire us to be the people you intended, to cast our nets on the other side, to trust that you fish alongside us, and that the stories of faith and community and hope will continue to inform and inspire generations to come. Let us collect our prayers with the prayers of so many as we pray the prayer of Jesus. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, as we forgive trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. And maybe you would like to make an offering toward the mission and ministry of Trinity United Church and the mission that extends around the world and into the most needy places in our own community. And there are many ways that you can do that. Lots of suggestions are there for you. Most people nowadays e-transfer, use Canada Helps, or are on pre-authorized remittance, but there is also a plate at the back of the church, and you're invited to use it as you are able. The offering will be received in the spirit in which it is given. And now, as a community willing to grow, adapt, and imagine, let us go forth with gratitude for our past and hope for our future. May the Spirit guide your steps and surprise you with joy as we go to be the church, renewed, courageous, and alive, and as we go out singing something that we're so familiar with now, doesn't feel like a new song at all, when hands reach out beyond divides.